And it's now time to welcome back Rob Lees from Mortgage Choice Blue Mountains and Penrith for our weekly finance segment. Good afternoon, Rob.
Good afternoon, Ben. Good afternoon, Diane.
Hi, Rob. So this week, Rob, we're going to be talking about how to make budgeting sexy, not scary. Whoa, seductive budgeting. We understand you asked your Facebook contacts for suggestions for this week's topic. So why this topic, and what were some of the suggestions?
Yeah, well, this one obviously caught my imagination, as it would. There was all sorts of... It was actually good to get some feedback because there was suggestions like construction loans and... budgeting to give. There was things like the importance of valuations and all the kinds of things we've already covered. But this one was how to make budgeting sexy, not scary.
Caught your attention, did it, Rob?
That caught my attention. But then there was another comment from one of my other friends who said, budgeting that's sexy. Now I'd like to see that. So that was the challenge. And I thought, sure.
And I should just tell our listeners that Rob's put on some very special clothing for us today.
Yeah,
No,
what do you think of that? That's right.
It's very good you can't see what he's wearing.
Yeah, so look, I thought I'd take up the challenge because finance, I think, is pretty sexy. So let's give it a go, hey?
Yeah. All right, let's give it a go. Rob,
well,
how do you make budgeting? I never thought I'd be asking this question. How do you make budgeting sexy?
Yeah, well, I guess it's trying to dress it up, isn't it? To make it colourful and attractive and stimulating and satisfying. I guess that's how I'd define sexy in this context. Would you say? Fair enough?
Fair enough.
So I think the problem with budgeting is a lot of the time we're just working with numbers that are very unattractive. And very boring. So I think it probably starts with, and Jo Muirfield, who gave me this suggestion, she's probably a picture person, I think. So I think we have to start with some pictures, and maybe the way to start really is, and I tried a bit of this myself yesterday in the heat of the day, the heat of the afternoon, lying on the hammock on the front veranda of my porch, and I just started to think. Now that's probably the first way to start, maybe with a glass of wine or something like that, and dream. What is it that you want to achieve? What are the goals? What are the things that are important to you? And come up with maybe one or two things that are really important that you want to save money for. Just try to put aside the cost for a start. We've just been talking about travel, and off air we were talking about how we'd love to travel. So that might be what the goal is. And try and put a dollar price on it. Now, you might start with a piece of paper here, maybe an A4 paper, and fold in half. On the left side, that's going to be your goal. This is going to be the really sexy part. So we want lots of colour, we want lots of pictures. So we're going to start off with a picture of what it is that you're wanting to achieve. What is that goal? It might be travelling to Tuscany, or what was the other one? You said Iceland. So it might be a picture of one of those places that we want to go to. So we'll put that there and put a dollar amount next to that picture. Okay, is it sounding sexy?
It's
getting there. It's colourful. It's colourful.
Yep, my pulse rate just went up a wee bit.
I could see.
A wee bit.
Just a little bit. And I think that we need one of those thermometer charts there as well, where you might, again, get lots of colours there, and you might have different parts there where you see how you're going and reaching that goal. So if the goal's $10,000, you might have at each thousand a particular mark where you mark off, okay, we're making progress, and link that to some kind of reward that makes you feel good when you achieve it.
I think our listeners are starting to get excited, Rob.
Oh, I hope so.
I can actually hear some heavy breathing coming back through the airwaves back at us here in the studio. So
that's how we start. Now, the next bit probably isn't quite so hard, and that's probably our next question there. But anyway.
Okay, well, before our next question, how about we have a little bit of Billy Joel with Only the Good Die Young.
That was Billy Joel with Only the Good Die Young. And we're back with Rob Lees. Rob, it's all very well to say, set yourself a goal to save for whatever you're wanting to achieve, but to save $100 per week or even $200 or whatever it might be, usually means working out what someone will need to go without to find that $100 or $200. That's the scary part and the part that puts most people off budgeting. But coming back to this sexy, budgeting sexy, finance sexy, how do you make the part of this process sexy?
Well, that's the real challenge.
In a nice husky voice, if you wouldn't mind.
That's the real challenge. And, well, what I thought about is relationships, there's always a bit of a cost involved. There's something of myself I've got to give to make it worthwhile. I've got a risk, don't I? And I've got a risk being rejected. So I guess like with this too, if we want to achieve these dreams, have these goals, there's going to have to be a cost. And I guess that is a bit scary and that can be a bit confronting. But let's try and make it as simple as possible. I think what we need to do is to break it down. So whatever that goal is, it's got to come down to what it's going to cost me on a weekly, fortnightly or monthly basis. We really need to get that figure, and there might be a little bit of work in that. And then we've got to work out where it's going to come from. And usually where it's going to come from, first area, is going to be in your discretionary expenses. So it's going to be really the things that we enjoy most. So if we can link budgeting to things that feel good, I think that's where we kind of get the sexy bit, isn't it? So, it might be going to concerts. You were saying, Kate Bush, £500 a ticket in the UK.
Sold out in 3 minutes.
Whoa. So if you went to 10 of those concerts a year, that's a lot of money, isn't it? So I think what it is not so much cutting out the things that you enjoy. So don't cut it out, just cut it back. That's really what you need to do. So if you're spending $5,000 a year on something you enjoy, just cut it back to $2,000 a year. We enjoy going out, eating out. If I worked out how much we're spending on that in a year, I'd probably get a shock. But if I cut it back and I limit it, I still do it, but I limit it, that's where some of these funds are going to come from. And I think if we go back to our left side of the page, so that's on our right side of the page, we're going to write down some of these things that we're going to limit. But on the left-hand side of the page, you've got your little target there that you're shooting for, and each time you achieve something, reach a milestone, why don't you reward yourself with one of those things that you enjoy? Keep it within the limit, and if you're doing it, spending the money within those limits that you set, you're going to feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, indeed. And I suppose also you've got to be prepared to, when you're doing that initial budget, if you can't afford, if you want to go on that overseas trip in 6 months' time and it's going to cost you, $300 a week worth of saving to get there, if you can't do that, if you can only put $150
That's
a week
right.
away, then
achievable.
Increase your time frame for your goal.
Yes, that's exactly
and you'll
right.
still get there.
That's exactly right. But you need that picture in front of you.
Yeah.
Stick it up on the fridge so you can see it every day and let it motivate you.
Good on you, Rob. Well, thank you again, and thanks for coming in and bringing a bit of sex to our show. We love that. Rob Lees from Mortgage Choice Blue Mountains and Penrith, and you can contact them on 4739 9749 or visit their office at 3/13 Hope Street in Blaxland.